Hello, my name is Bree, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, Breezy Banter, the place where I talk about the things I want to talk about. In today's video, I'm doing a continuation of one of the series that I have here on my channel, where I talk about my experience with a particular indie perfume house. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the perfume house Fantôme. Throughout the course of this video, what I'll do is I'll tell you the name of the perfume that I tried, whether or not I received it as a free sample, a rating, if I want to full size it, the notes as described by the house, and then my personal experience trying the perfume. And then I'll also provide a general overview of the house itself, along with the customer service, if applicable, and the turnaround time that I experienced when I ordered from them. Before talking about the specific perfumes that I've tried from Fantôme, I like to start out these videos by also expressing my particular likes and dislikes when it comes to perfume. So the notes that I tend to go for include vanilla, sugar, cotton candy, and lime. Generally speaking, if it's a very feminine gourmand scent, it tends to be up my alley. In terms of notes that I think are just okay, or they can be more hit or miss, include most fruit notes, most florals, and musk. And then in terms of notes that I tend to dislike, these include rose, pumpkin, incense, wood, or anything that tends to be described as more masculine leaning. So with that in mind, let's get into the perfumes that I tried from Fantôme. One thing that I'll mention right off the bat is that a lot of these names are difficult for me to pronounce, so there will be a list in the order that I'm going in, which happens to be alphabetical, in the description box. So if I say something and you're like, what was that word? It will be in the description box. So the first perfume is called Arashiyama, which I rated 4 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are rain-drenched bamboo, fresh omican slices, Japanese pear, cherry blossom, sandalwood, ginger, white tea, and faded perfume musk. My notes are that this scent is perfectly fine, but it is quite earthy and a little rosy, which means that it's just not for me. I can imagine other people really liking this though. It's fresh, and yet it smells like it's about to rain. Next is the scent Astaroth, which I rated 8 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing it. The notes are ripe peaches, pumpkin flesh over a bed of red musk, honey cakes drizzled with white chocolate, and roasted pistachios. I said, this scent is very gourmand and fruity. Overall, it is very pleasant. Next is the scent Baba Yaga, which I rated 7 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are black and red musk, a smoldering cauldron, cracked bone, cardamom, warm wood, hanging animal skins, burning mugwort. I said that this smells like sophisticated laundry detergent in a good way, and it's very fresh and androgynous. I've actually recommended this scent to 2 of my male friends, and they both got it, and they both quite like it. So I say it's androgynous, and like I didn't dislike it. I think I disliked it on myself, but I do think it works. It works for women and men, of course, but there are 2 men in my life who I tend to describe as them preferring more masculine scents who still enjoyed this one. Next is the scent Ectoplasm, which I rated 8 out of 10, and I will not be full sizing. The notes are spooky, goopy marshmallow over bone-chilling white musk, sweet amber, a gossamer sugar glaze, dark myrrh, and creeping greenery. I said, this is a sweet marshmallow scent tinged with mossiness. And I feel like this doesn't quite get to the specialness of this scent. There is something quite unique about Ectoplasm, and for me it ended up smelling, I can't say off because that's not quite right, but there was like a freshness to it that mixed with the marshmallow kind of like downgraded it to an 8, whereas otherwise I think it would have been like a 9 or a 10 for me. It's a very interesting scent, and this one is quite a popular one. Next is Eos, which I rated 7 out of 10, and I do not want to full size. The notes are tart lemonade with fresh raspberries, candied rose petals, wild berries, and a hint of zesty ginger. I said I definitely get the lemonade and raspberries, but Fantôme just leans so floral that the rose smells really centered. Next is Finist the Falcon, which I rated 6 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are Bulgarian rose marred with dewy Russian rose, swirled in strawberry, currant, and peach kissel with cream. I said this smells very similar to Lush's Rose Jam. It's sweet and flowery, but it is far too rosy for me, as one might expect based on the notes. Next is the scent Gion, which I rated 5 out of 10, and I do not want a full size. The notes are powdery, floral, classic, delicate plum blossom, rose-scented makeup powder, white tea, creamy honey, paper parasols. I said that this scent is very rose-forward and reminds me of both Lush's Rose Jam and Fantôme's own Finist the Falcon, so the one that I just read. Next is the scent Ivan the Fool, which I received as a free sample, but I did not try it, so I did not rate it. And that's because I sold it because I didn't like how it smelled. The notes are golden figs, oak moss, Siberian fir, well-worn Russian leather, cedar, warm wolf fur, juniper berries, sparkling bergamot. If I recall, I think this one was very like rugged and maybe not quite masculine, maybe more androgynous leaning. But there was like not a lot of sweetness to it, and I just tend to enjoy sweet scents. Next is Kinmokusei, which I rated 4 out of 10, and I do not want a full size. The notes are ripe apricot, juicy peach, tree sap, golden blossoms with a hint of citrus, and deep resinous amber. I said that this scent is really fruity, but there's a sharpness to it that reminds me of something unpleasant I can't quite put my finger on. Next is the scent Kuidaore. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering it. I actually bought this as a full size, but I didn't end up trying it, and I sold it. So the notes are fried pastry dough, fluffy vanilla cream filling, a dusting of matcha powder. I'm pretty sure what happened was when I smelled this, it smelled okay, but because I can sell things, like if I can sell something brand new, never used, with the understanding that very likely I wouldn't have enjoyed it, then I would prefer to do that than to sample it and then sell it. So that's why I went that route with this particular perfume. Next is the scent Kyuu Kohi, which I rated 6 out of 10, and I do not want a full size. The notes are a warm tropical breeze, incense, roasted coffee, summer rain, and a drop of vanilla cream. I said, if you asked me to describe the scent, I would describe it as per the notes, but now that I've read them, I can't describe it any other way. So I think this one likely smells very true to the description. Next is Labdanum, which I received as a free sample. So this was just a single note. I rated it 3 out of 10, and this is how I learned that I do not enjoy Labdanum. So I said, this is meant to be a layering note and not worn alone. It's described online as balsamic and animalic. I don't have many thoughts about it other than it's not really my speed, but I enjoyed testing it out with other scents. I think to my nose, it tends to add like a sort of deepness or like a richness that is not sweet. And so I tend to associate that more with like a masculine sort of vibe. And again, that's just not really my thing. Next is the scent Luna di Miele, which I didn't try. I had bought a full size of it. And similar to what I described with Kuidaore, I think I had smelled it in the bottle, assumed that I wouldn't like it, and so just tried to sell it brand new, never used. The notes here are orange spritz, veneziano, caramelized sugar, bee pollen, honeycomb, jasmine, gelato. I'll talk about this later on, but I ordered from Fantôme pretty early on when I started getting into indies, and I have learned over time that honey is a hit or miss. I keep saying hit and miss. It's a hit or miss note for me. And so buying just like a honey scent just straight out the gate, like now that I have a better sense of what I like, I definitely would have sampled this one before purchasing the full size. Next is the scent Lymphae, which I received as a free sample. I also didn't try it. Again, so this one I did smell in the sample vial. So the notes are white musk, cool vanilla, a swift running stream, Italian lilac, orange blossom, damp earth, and the ozone of spring thunderstorms. I said that this smelled in the sample vial, and I wish I had tried it before selling it. Okay, that's what it was. I remember this one. So I think I had just added it to like my destash list without like even opening it for reasons that I just couldn't tell you why I did that. Because like I do tend, like I'll sniff. If I get a sample of something, like I will sniff it before doing anything with it. And I think for whatever reason, I must have thought like I did do that and then didn't like it, so I just added it to my destash list. and then somebody bought it, and when I was like packaging everything, I could smell it a bit, and I was like, oh, this smells like lovely. So then I had regret, of course, for selling something that I actually quite enjoyed. So I might come back to this one and perhaps full size it, but we'll see. I'm a bit undecided because you'll see as I finish off this list that this is the only one that I have like any interest whatsoever in full sizing. But because I haven't actually tried it on my skin yet, I would prefer to sample it. But then purchasing one sample, including the shipping, it's a whole thing. So I'm just not sure. We'll see where it goes. Next is the scent Morozko, which I rated 6 out of 10, and I did not want to full size it. The notes are smooth peppermint, cracking birch, nutmeg, biting winter wind, cold vanilla, and black pepper. I said this is mostly minty with a slight sweetness to it that isn't apparent when smelling directly from the bottle. I would describe it as androgynous. Next is Namba, which I rated 7 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are saltwater canals, motor oil, buzzing neon, melted vanilla ice cream. I said that this honestly smells like a slightly less green version of Ectoplasm, which is one of the other scents that I talked about earlier. Next is Olwyn, which I rated 5 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are magnolias, plush white lilies, night blooming jasmine, and gardenias over rich buttery vanilla, myrrh, benzoin, and a hint of orange blossom. I said this scent is a very nice floral scent. It comes across to me as rose, and if I actually liked rose, it would be a hit, but alas. Next is Paimon, which I rated 5 out of 10, and I do not want to full size it. The notes are hot sands, holy frankincense, sanctified myrrh, sun-bleached parchment, vanilla, black amber, coconut husk, a king's golden crown. I said, I get that the notes are listed, but there is a florally rose scent that underlies it all. It smells like this could be a really nice and warm scent without the rosiness to it. Next is the Fox Sisters, which I rated 5 out of 10, and I do not want to full size. The notes are spiced cardamom cake with orange zest and candied red currants, caramel cream, dragon's blood resin, and flecks of vanilla bean. Again, I said this mostly smelled like rose to me. After reading the notes, I can distinguish the spicy vanilla notes from the rose, but it is still far too florally for me. Next is the scent Vasilisa, which I bought a full size, and similar to as I've described before, I sold it before trying it. The notes are clover honey, neroli, rich tonka, chamomile, dry hay, a flower crown of marigolds, and sunflowers. And then lastly is the scent Vassago, which I rated 6 out of 10, and I do not want to full size. The notes are a silver dagger, red wine malt with blackberries, cloves, and orange peels, a goblet of blood, and black mirror. I said the scent is interesting. It reminds me of Baba Yaga, which is one of the scents that I talked about earlier, as it also has a freshness and androgynous quality to the scent. There's a slight fruity sweetness to it as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I also recommended this one to a male friend, and I'm pretty sure they bought it, and I think they ended up quite enjoying it as well. This one of the same friends that I also recommended Baba Yaga to. So those are all the scents that I tried from Fantôme. As you can see, none of the scents that I tried I actually ended up wanting to full size, with the exception of Lymphae, which I technically didn't actually try. I just smelled from like the bottle, which is a bit of a disappointment. That said, as I mentioned, like I bought from Fantôme very early on when I started getting into indies, and so I think that contributes to it. Like I didn't have a great sense of the notes that I enjoyed. I bought like 4 scents that had honey as like a first or second note, and then a lot of very floral leaning perfumes. So I suspect like that's what's contributing to the low hit rate, because Fantôme is a very well beloved company within the indie sphere. So I think it was just me picking out samples that like kind of seemed like they might be up my alley, or just like what I was familiar with from department stores, and then them just not working out because now I have a better sense of what I like. In terms of who I think this store would work best for, I think if you prefer scents that lean, I think there's kind of 2 different groups. If you prefer scents that lean androgynous and or masculine, like you could wear, like I could envision like a couple having like a bottle of Baba Yaga and both of them using it as an example. Of course, like anyone can wear whatever perfume they want. I just think more traditionally speaking, I could see it working for both men and women. Additionally, I think if you really enjoy florals, so like rose, gardenia, lilac, etc., I think Fantôme has that just kind of in spades. And I think their overall vibe is very like atmospheric and not quite surreal. Like, I don't think that's it. I do think it is a quite grounded brand, but just very environmentally focused. I'm not like, I can't quite find the right word. Very atmospheric, I think is right. Like when I think of the scent Namba, which is saltwater canals, motor oil, buzzing neon, melted vanilla ice cream, like I can envision in my head someone walking down the streets of like Tokyo with a cup of gelato or something. At least that's what it invokes for myself. So I think if you tend to, it's almost the opposite of the perfume house Firebird in a sense. When I reviewed Firebird, and I have a video of it here on my channel, one of the things that I mentioned was that their perfumes are very true to the description. So it will say the notes are vanilla, orange blossom, and patchouli. And like, that's what it smells like. It's very like, you know what you're getting when you order it. Whereas I feel like with Fantôme, it's not that it doesn't smell as described, it's just, it might be a different variation on what you might be expecting based on the notes. So in terms of customer service / turnaround time, I had ordered on February 23rd and my order shipped on March 17th. I don't know what the stated turnaround time was at the time that I ordered. I do believe it was like 6 business or like 30 business days, something like that. So effectively 6 weeks. And so I know for a fact that they were within that turnaround time. Fantôme does have a longer turnaround time than a lot of indie houses. That said, like, they deliver on it. If you order and it says that your package will be sent July 1st, like, it will be sent by July 1st. My understanding though is that they're changing the model that they're using for ordering, because before it was just like a regular store where like you go online, you purchase what you want, and you get it 6 weeks later, something like that. But I was reading that I think they might have seen some success on like TikTok or something recently, and I think they had like a really big influx of orders, and so they were kind of struggling to keep up. And so what I think they were doing was they were opening up a window of time like once a month for like an hour, maybe not even that. I think the most recent one I heard was open for only like 30 minutes. And so people can order within that 30 minutes and then they just close down for the rest of the month. And then they ship out all orders before the next opening the following month. So I haven't, like, when I ordered from them several years ago at this point, and so I can't speak to how that process works. I heard some people express frustration with it, which I can understand. Like, I think it was set for a weekday at like noon Eastern time or something, but like people work, I don't know, not everyone can be at their computer like at noon Eastern on that particular day. And if they can't, they're just kind of SOL for the rest of the month. I don't know. It is unfortunate. I understand why they had to do it. But I also understand the frustration that consumers might have with that particular choice. So I think that's everything that I had to talk about today in terms of Fantôme and the perfumes that I tried from them. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you will like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And before I go, I'd like to take a minute to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Bye.